News broke out today that Red Bull could be cheating. They confirmed that they are making changes to their car ahead of the United States Grand Prix after holding discussions with the FIA about some potential regulatory breaches. Let's get into things. Hello everybody, my name is Michael and welcome back to Last to First. So what exactly has happened? Well, the FIA was alerted by some rival teams that Red Bull did have a device on their car that could potentially affect the bib or the T-tray area of the car, which can in turn make adjustments to the ride height. What is the bib or the T-tray? That's basically the front of the floor on the car, and that's really significant in regulations such as what we have right now in Formula One that are ground effect. This device isn't inherently bad, but if it is adjusted in an illegal or incorrect way or during parc fermé regulations, then that would not be good and that would be strictly against the regulations. So it could potentially be problematic or it could not be. Either way, Red Bull did confirm that they are removing the part from the car ahead of the race, which shows that it must be a little over the edge in terms of what the regulations suggest can be there. So why is this such a big deal? Well, it's a big deal because if the device can change the height of the car, then that will in turn affect the performance of the car. With these ground effect cars, the height of the car is extremely important and that dramatically affects the performance of the car. So if a team is able to change the height of the car between qualifying and the race, that can make a big difference in terms of performance. Ideally, a team would have a lower ride height in qualifying than they would in the race. So if they were able to change that, they could essentially optimize the car for both sessions, even though typically it's supposed to be a balance between the two. Being able to change these things between qualifying and the race would potentially be able to dramatically affect the performance of the car, the balance of the car, and just everything about the car. It's a big deal if this device is used to actually change the height of the car throughout the weekend. Now, it's a big potential problem because changing of things like the ride height is strictly prohibited in parc fermé conditions, which is between qualifying and the race. So if things are changed during that time, then that is no good, no bueno, and it is strictly prohibited. So that's a very significant problem. The FIA have confirmed that they have no evidence as of yet to actually confirm that such a device is being used to make these adjustments, but they have confirmed that there is a part on the Red Bull that could potentially do it. So it's still an ongoing thing to know if Red Bull actually have used this part in an illegal manner or if it's just something that they have on their car that should be removed because it's against the spirit of the regulations. So how was this device found exactly? Well, it was found last month during the Singapore Grand Prix, and rivals were able to see about its existence because of some open source component documents that all the teams are given throughout the weekend. All teams are given each other's documents for this, so everybody can comply with the parts coming in, and so the FIA can't scrutinize all the parts. So teams were able to notice this part and they brought up questions and concerns to the FIA, which then led to discussions with Red Bull, and from those discussions Red Bull have agreed to remove the part off the car. So while this definitely does not look good for Red Bull, especially because they confirmed this device is on the car and they are removing it, we still don't know if they were actually using this in an illegal way. We don't know if they were using it in between quali and the race, if they were using it in parc fermé. So we don't yet know if this has had any actual consequences or if anything illegal has actually just been done, or if it's just a matter of something that's against the spirit of the regulations, just something that the FIA doesn't want to see. So that's going to come out in due time, I'm sure. If they were using it in a legal manner, I don't know what the consequences will be, but I'm sure it will be significant. I'm sure there would be a very big investigation. I'm sure the FIA would have to go back and scrutinize each set of parts throughout the year that Red Bull have had, and I don't know if that would lead to disqualifications, penalties, other penalties. Nobody really knows yet, but like I said, at the moment, nobody is proven guilty of anything. They in the form of Red Bull just had to remove a part. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the coming times to know if they actually were doing anything illegal or not. Because of these discussions with Red Bull, the FIA have implemented some additional measures to prevent this from happening in the future. They're doing some extra scrutineering and doing some extra procedural adjustments to ensure that the bib clearance could not be easily modified. So those are my quick thoughts on the ongoing Red Bull situation. Wanted to make a quick podcast about it because that is quite crazy, quite drama. The season continues to produce some craziness, and it would be really shocking if it turns out that Red Bull was in fact using this in a legal matter. As of right now, there's no evidence to point towards that, but I can't wait to see how all this unfolds over the course of the weekend. I'm sure they're going to be getting 1,000,001 questions throughout the weekend, so I'm sure a bit more information will be shed throughout the weekend. So if you're interested, give the podcast a like and a follow and a subscribe. It really means a lot, and I look forward to getting into things a bit more over the weekend for the United States Grand Prix. I'll see you all in the next one.